Welcome to module number 4, MoR approach and documentation. So in this module, after completing this particular module, you will be able to explain the MoR approach. You'll be able to describe the purpose and composition of the different MoR approach documents. And then you would be able to explain the relationship between the different MoR approach documents. Now, please keep in mind that the MoR approach is developed based on MoR principles. And at the core of the MoR approach is the creation of a set of documents comprising of, as you could see on this particular slide, a risk management policy, a risk management process guide, risk management strategies for each organizational activities. Let me take you through each of these documents. A risk management policy basically explains the relevance of risk management and the objectives achieved by implementing a formal risk management approach in an organization. And then you have the risk management process guide. It explains how an organization executes and implements risk management and the role and responsibilities of people who perform the tasks related to risk management. And then you have risk management strategies for each organizational activity. So this one documents the way the risk management policy and process will be implemented for a specific organizational activity. So the policy, along with the process guide and the strategies, are important documents providing explanation on how the organization will implement risk management. These documents describe the activities to be undertaken, the sequence in which the activities are performed, and the roles and responsibilities necessary for their delivery. Now, the composition of each of these documents should be aligned with the objectives and tailored to the context of the organization and a specific organizational activity for which risks are to be identified, assessed, and controlled. So each document used in the MoR approach relates to the other MoR documents. Let me just take you through a few more ideas. Introduction to the MoR approach. There are 3 categories of supporting documents, and each of these categories are reflected on this particular slide. So the 3 broad categories of supporting documents are record documents, the plans documents, and the reports documents. Now, these are the documents besides the policy, the process guide, and the strategies document we saw in the preceding slide. Now, under the record section, you have a risk register and an issue register. A risk register identifies and documents all the risks that have an impact on the objectives of the organizational activity. The manager of the organizational activity, for example, the operations manager or the program manager, are responsible for the risk register. And then you have issue register. Issues are problems, benefits, queries, or changes. Issues may arise from unmanaged risks. An issue register documents all the sudden and unplanned situations that require immediate management attention. It is an important document that links the risk management and issue resolution processes. And then coming down to plans, you have a risk improvement plan. A risk improvement plan increases the efficiency of risk management process by improving the culture and the context of risk management. The manager of the organizational activity, for example, operations or program, is responsible for the risk improvement plan. And after that is the risk communications plan. And this is a separate document or a part of a wider communications plan for an organization. The risk communication plan is the responsibility of the manager of the organizational activity. And then you have a risk response plan. A risk response plan is an extension of the risk register, and configuration control between the risk register and risk response plan must always be maintained. Risk response plan should be created and maintained by risk owners. Risk progress report is the next one. It may be a separate document or form part of a wider progress report for the organizational activity in question. Providing progress against risk management activities is a responsibility of the manager of the organizational activity. So keep these documents in perspective. So we got the policy, process, guidance, strategy documents in the preceding slide, and then we looked into 3 different categories of documents: record documents, plans documents, and report documents. Let's kind of do a bit of deep dive. Let's kind of look into each of these documents and look into what are the contents that go into these documents. So you have the risk management policy document. The risk management policy document is a document that communicates why risk management is important and how it will. So some of the content areas of a risk policy document are the following. Introduction. We might want to kind of begin what this document is all about. It includes risk appetite and capacity. So we'll kind of define these terms on the next slide. We'll look into what risk tolerance is. What are the procedures for escalation and delegation? Who are the people involved? Glossary of terms. For example, how do we define risk? What do we mean by risk appetite? What do we mean by risk probability and risk impact? So it's good to kind of define these terms. What is a risk management process? What are the key performance indicators and early warning indicators? When risk management should be implemented? Reporting, budgeting, quality assurance, and annual review are the template headings of a risk management policy document. And we'll kind of look into a few of the key terms on this particular slide. Let's kind of examine what do we mean by risk capacity, what do we mean by risk appetite, and what do we mean by risk tolerance. These are important terms. Capacity is defined as the maximum amount of risk that an organization or subset of it can bear, linked to factors such as its reputation, capital, assets, and ability to raise additional funds. The risk appetite is the amount of risk the organization or subset of it is willing to accept. So capacity is a maximum amount of risk that an organization can take. And the amount that it is willing to take is a risk appetite. And risk tolerance is the threshold levels of risk exposure that, with appropriate approvals, can be exceeded, but which, when exceeded, will trigger some form of response. Example, reporting a situation to senior management for action. For example, you could say any risk that goes beyond a particular threshold of timeline would have to be escalated to the next level of management. For example, at the project level, the timeline provided could be this particular project should be completed within 12 months, but we're going to give a tolerance of an additional 2 months. But if the members of the project board foresee that they could go beyond the agreed tolerance, then they would need to escalate that to the next layer of management.